welcome Dr. Samatha Tulla on our podcast today.
I have my personal story to what I'm doing today, but how to be healthy, how to create health was something that was missing.
Everything that we see today, all these chronic illnesses, this wasn't there, 100 years ago.
There were no toxins, there were no chemicals, there were no additives. We didn't have cell phones hanging with us all the time onto our body, into our pockets. There were many things which were not there. This is very important. Whenever there is something in the market, people overdo it, or sometimes it is over-marketed.
So what kind of balance does Dr. Samatha have?
I keep it simple. I get my sleep no matter what is happening in the world.
Hi everyone. Today's episode is very close to my heart. I always keep joking with my family and friends that if not an engineer or an entrepreneur, I would have definitely been a doctor, but a doctor who will probably cure the root cause. I'm very happy to welcome Dr. Samatha Tulla on our podcast today.
Thank you, Deepti. Thank you for having me on the show.
Right now, I see a lot of paradigm shift happening, and I think we're living in the best times where we are moving from symptom-based cure to root cause-based approach, whether it's with quality of food, whether it's with reading the ingredients, and whether it's just unawarely popping those pills, right? So we've been talking about all of that and much more with Dr. Samatha Tulla. Let's talk about something which is the reason why you're here today.
I'm a physician, you know that, but I have my personal story to what I'm doing today. Years back, like when I finished my post-graduation, like any other student, I wanted to specialize. That's how I got into oncology, only to realize that that is not the right place for me, or I felt I can do much more from prevention point of view, because all I could see was end disease clients not having enough time or quality of life after that. And then I had my personal share of stories. That's how I figured out there's something else that I can do in terms of preventive medicine as such. And I had my own health issues during that time, like migraines and all. And I figured out how to create health was something that was missing. And that is what I figured out in my research and in a research to reverse my own problems, to reverse my own symptoms. And that's how I discovered the root cause medicine, the systems biology approach. There's something more to even create health. So that's how my journey actually began. That's how I started influencing my family, my friends. I started looking at disease a little more differently so that we could find greater benefits, improve their symptoms, not just by increasing pharmaceutical drugs, but also by improving their overall quality in terms of nutrition and everything else.
That's awesome. And talking about influencing family and friends, I think you're influencing way more people. I think almost a year and a half ago, I tried getting in touch with you for something related to functional medicine. And suddenly, the other day when I did a very simple research among 400 members, I got so many votes to have you on our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm overwhelmed with all this response. But I think there's a lot more that we can do, right? With the growing population in India, with the amount of healthcare diseases, the chronic disease burden in India. I think it's time people start realizing and becoming more aware about how proactive health engagement is more crucial. And we need to reduce together the healthcare burden that we are facing today and years going forward.
Yeah, that's rightly put. I'm sure this will offend a lot of industries. But again, coming back to nature, what we learn from the nature, or at least what they've taught us in our yogic science, is that a lot of things are dependent on the number of breaths, we take. So for pigeons, if you see dogs have 15 years lifespan, they breathe about 25 to 30 breaths per minute. And then we have tortoises which live 200, 300 years, but only take 4 breaths per minute. And even for humans, average normal adult has a 12 to 20 breaths per minute lifespan. Don't we all come with set physiology? Don't we come with a set lifespan?
Lifespan, again, the 100 years of human life is equivalent to 20 years of dog life, right? When we put that aside, yes, we should use our systems a lot more efficiently because we are born with certain amount of blood volume and a heart tissue that can beat certain number of times, and of course certain number of breaths that we all can breathe throughout our life. As you rightly put, we are better regulated when we breathe certain number of times. But a lot of issues, right? Physiologically, our body is very smart. It knows when to increase the respiratory rate depending on what kind of physical or mental task that we are going to accomplish. The body will rejuvenate itself and increase the volume accordingly, right? But again, when the stimulus is taken out, when the need for increased breathing period is removed, we need to get back to what we are starting out. But is it happening? Are we coming back to our optimal rhythm? So that is what has gone haywire, right? In modern day, we are often trying to reach targets, do a lot of things, not slowing down, that hustle culture, whatever it is. So I think we are allowing our body to do a lot more than it can do. So I think that's how the efficiency is coming down
Yeah.
and putting our body at toss.
So would you say emotional regulation first or gut?
Emotional regulation first. Because if you're very clear what your emotions can do to your body in terms of physiology, if we are more aware, we can realign our thoughts and bring back breathing to normal, right? If you're always stressed, like if your heart rate and respiratory rate is excited or increased, does it going to complete your work in an hour? No. We need to realign our thought. We need to emotionally regulate ourselves so that we are more composed and we can achieve or finish our task better. So emotional regulation is very, very crucial.
So do you think the mind follows the body or the body follows the mind then?
That's a very difficult question. Maybe I'll put mind on top of the body.
Great.
We have that superior regulation since we have human intelligence.
Yeah. So your entire longevity theory, and when you treat your patients, you do definitely, I'm sure, look into neurological receptors and impact of neurons on the disease itself, right?
Today we know whatever metabolism you have is impacting it. So even that is happening together with our body systems. It's not like we have all the metabolic diseases, our memory is perfect. Both go hand in hand. When we talk about assessing a person, it's not about doing a blood test, right? We need to assess them in terms of their personality, behavior, their emotions, their memory, their psychomotor skills, everything. So that is how cognition or neurology is an important part of longevity or well-being.
I mean, this is something that I keep hearing from friends. You have all these, lot of stuff that you do every day. We don't want to do all of this. We are YOLO. You live only once. We want to have fun.
Having fun is good. Having that quality of life where you don't have to take so many pills to keep your health in place is important. And when you want to do something which you love about or which you're passionate in life, one thing which shouldn't stop you from doing that is your health. If health is one thing that is stopping you from fulfilling your passion or your wishes, then what is fun in it?
Let's go 1 century back. We never had all these autoimmune conditions and metabolism, everything that we see today, all these chronic illnesses, which is probably 1 in 5 people, having all these issues. This wasn't there, 100 years ago.
100 years ago, there were many things which were not there, right? There were no toxins, there were no chemicals, there were no additives, there were no EMFs, electromagnetic fields, there were no digital aids like today. We don't have all these Bluetooth cameras. We didn't have cell phones hanging with us all the time onto our body, into our pockets. There were many things which were not there. Cumulatively, it has helped us advance at our work, but it is also taking us back health point of view. Yes, we have all these metabolic diseases, autoimmune diseases, like you rightly said today, because of all these things that we got into this world so that we can do better in terms of our work or in terms of a lot of things.
So tell me, longevity and anti-aging, you are actually treating every chronic illness, every condition that somebody is having. You got to first bring them to a point of zero, and then you help them reverse age, balance in life, or maintain healthy lifestyle and all that stuff. So I'm sure you don't get people who will directly come to you and say, I'm 30, I want my biological age to be 16. But maybe you get people who come with a condition and you have to bring them to zero. How do you do that?
A 60-year-old may want to get better in terms of health by saying so it could be reversing age or reversing the disease he already has. Or it could be a 40-year-old who is now just motivated and want to live the best life and don't want to get into those diseases because he has been watching his parents having those diseases and always have to get to the hospital for all the help that they need. And here we have all 18 to 30-year-olds who are sitting at their desk, being more sedentary and more commitments. And though they are motivated for health transformation, they don't have that help. The later people, like in their 50s or 60s, want some help to reduce the medications, reverse the disease, and feel better, feel great.
Yeah.
People, various demographics, various health goals. But eventually, what it is that we want to make them feel better is improve their hormonal balance, improve their mood, improve their neurotransmitters, improve their insulin sensitivity, reduce their oxidative stress, reduce their inflammation, improve their sleep. That is when they have the balance, and that is when we lose disease and we get health.
So what kind of balance does Dr. Samatha have? What is her personal routine? What does she do at home?
I keep it simple. I get my sleep, no matter what is happening in the world. I try to aim at least 7 hours of sleep on most days of the week. I try to exercise at least 6 days a week, one day being a high intensity training, and most of the days is both strength training and into cardiovascular fitness. These two aside, third thing which I have a lot of challenge with is movement. Because like any others, I tend to sit on the chair, and now I think I need to change that. I need to get one standing table to get more movement into my life. It comes very naturally to me. Am I eating more plants in my plate? Am I eating adequate protein? Usually there's no space in my plate for any processed food, so that is taken care of. If I'm taking stress, I question myself, am I going to finish my work faster with this stress that I'm having today? The answer is definitely no, right? Then I would realign my thoughts and I'll be like, Samta, don't take stress. It's not going to accomplish your work. It's only going to ruin your health. Oh, one thing I'm scared of is losing my health again. So I don't want to do that. So that is how I take care of my stress better nowadays.
That's nice. So you're being very mindful. So you also believe in meditation or any other?
One time a day, I write my gratitude journal so that I'm prepared for next day. I'm more focused. I know what my day went like. It will help me align with my passions and keep me motivated as well. So that calmness, I think all of us should make time. We have children, we have work, we have personal life, but amongst everything, we should be ourselves. I should justify myself, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not following anything and going on preaching others, it doesn't make sense.
See, such simple things are the best biohacks.
Those are the biohacks everybody can follow sitting from their home, right? You don't have to spend so much money in it. You don't have to meet somebody. You don't need any guidance for all of these 5 things that we talked about now.
I know. Yeah, just sunlight, be in the nature. Write your gratitude or say it out loud every day.
Spend time with your family. Very, very, very important.
Yeah. So what do you do for your family? What is it that your children get, which our children are not getting?
No.
What longevity hacks are happening at home?
I want every child to get time from their parents. It could be a little more and few times a week, but they should get that time from their parents, from their grandparents. We take our kids to the grandparents every week. It doesn't matter if they have a birthday party, whatever. They should meet the grandparents. And we all have dinner time together so that we discuss how the day has gone by for my kids, for myself, and we spend that time together.
I'm sure we don't find any processed food in your house, nothing that comes in packets.
No, I don't get any of it. But I made a point, like once a week, I will cook for them what they like. It could be a little processed. I want them to have memories later in their lives. My mom used to cook one thing which was little refined, but because we love eating that. Better than buying it from the stores,
Of course, yeah.
So that is one new rule that we made in the house, because the rest of the days they're not getting anything that they like.
So, Dr. Samatha's bio age.
I'm still waiting for my results.
Okay. I have this mixed case studies and mixed reviews about coffee and caffeine and its influence and the stimulating effect. I don't have more than 1 cup a day, but then I need that 1 cup in the morning. Why do I have this craving?
Coffee is not actually bad. It got its bad name because people are overindulging in it. For that matter, it could be anything, right? Anything which is overly done gets a bad hit. So caffeine is actually good. It has polyphenols and we need them. But we should make sure, are we actually drinking coffee in it, or is it a chicory mix?
Yeah.
Are we drinking a pure coffee, or do we have sugar or milk in it? So that is what is making the difference, right? So as long as it's coffee, it's caffeine, that's fine. And as long as you're drinking it before 2 p.m., it's fine. But again, everybody processes caffeine very differently, right? You could be having genes which are fast metabolizers, like you get it out of your system very quickly.
I have a friend who drinks at 10 p.m. and sleeps immediately after
So
that.
that means she has fast metabolism. She has that genes which are eliminating caffeine from her body. But I know people who, after the second cup, starts having palpitations and jitters and starts becoming shaky. Every person is different how he reacts. So, but as such, coffee is not bad. But it depends on the individual.
For me, always having after food has worked. Somehow, when I have it first thing, obviously I'll have jitters. But when I have my breakfast and have coffee, I'm good with it. So what influence do you think it has on our gut lining and liver detox?
Is it the first cup that goes into your body as soon as you wake up? Then that is not ideal, because we want that natural cortisol release to happen in the morning, right? So we don't want to disturb it or change it in a way that your body is not doing it well. So don't have it within first 1 hour or so. So it's important we hydrate, because we have this glymphatic system in the brain which puts together or collects all the toxins in the brain, which is cleared up to some extent in the sleep by the glymphatic system, and rest of the clearance happens only when we hydrate ourselves very well the first thing we wake up in the morning. When it comes to gut health, every person, I said, it's different. If we are having nutritional deficiencies and mineral deficiencies, we should also be watchful for teas and coffees, because sometimes they can chelate your vitamins and minerals.
So does it really bring your magnesium levels and sodium levels?
Not for everybody. Mineral deficiencies or vitamins, it happens due to several reasons. It could be depending on the diet that we're taking, the kind of toxins we inhale, or even it is processing in the gut or not, if your gut has adequate diversity or not. So we can't tie up everything with coffee again.
Yeah, but you spoke a little about sleep. There's this theory that I read where, you have to sleep on one side, either left or right, to actually have a better lymphatic drainage, which we just spoke about. Is it actually true?
Lymphatic drainage as such is not predominantly affected by the side you sleep, but it's better to sleep, habituate your body in sleeping certain way. Posture is very, very important. Many of abnormal sleep posture, again, that is very important. Your posture is important. Though not the side, but having a regular posture is important again for you to habituate to get into the sleep. Some people just get back home, they don't take shower, just fall directly on the bed. They think they're sleeping, but their heart rate drops very late in the night. Everybody should go through 4 full sleep cycles in the night, because even now when I'm sleeping stressfully, I'm not preparing for bed, or I'm crashing bed directly, I don't complete 4 cycles. So it is so important that we think we're sleeping, but body is not resting. So that is very important.
So how can one find out without the gadgets? How do I know if I went into my deep REM sleep?
You may not know. Because that is the real-time data, right? The real-time data, we want to immediately know what is happening. With one night, if we want to know without tech, it's not possible. So that is how the wearables can give you real-time analysis.
Coming back to the cortisol, which we just spoke about, everybody comes asking us, I want to reduce fat here, I want to reduce fat here, I want to reduce... So I get very tired explaining there's no spot reduction. So in the same way, worry so much about cortisol and reduce. It's obviously high in the morning and should drop low towards the evening. Why is it such a big thing?
See, cortisol is important. Like any other hormone, it's important. We have a lot of hormones. But yes, again, cortisol is connected with stress, and that is connected with sex hormones. Everything is interconnected. Again, if you don't have a healthy liver, then your liver is not metabolizing your hormones. You end up collecting all unhealthy hormones. Let's take an example. Estrogen, right? We have E1, E2, E3. This is the way body releases. We have certain types of estrogens like E3, which is not very harmful. But over the period of time, as we are aging, we tend to metabolize little less, and we end up accumulate a lot of E2, which is not good, because it will accumulate visceral fat. For that, liver should be functioning well. It should be detoxifying well. And for that, what you should be doing? You should be doing something which is relevant for your healthy body again. You should be consuming a lot of plant-based foods. You should make sure your nutrients are not deficient. Again, you're doing the same thing. Even to maintain a cortisol balance, or you want to improve your liver, again, doing those 5 things right? Like sleep, stress, nutrition.
Yes.
We can't end up saying just sleep is important, just cortisol important, only having a healthy liver is important. You should have good progesterone to be healthy. We can't talk singularly like that. Everything is interconnected.
In general also, I like when I see if I have a wound, my body has a natural way to cure itself. What is your idea about intermittent fasting, starvation, regenerating the cells? How impactful is it in certain conditions, and who are the people who are supposed to do it or not supposed to do it?
Fasting has a lot of science to it, right? As you also know it. It kinds of stimulates your genes which help you live longer, like sirtuins. It also will regenerate your body by stimulating something called AMPK. It will inhibit mTOR. Lot of things which will help us keep healthy for longer are activated during that time. Boost your immune system. It will help you lose fat mass. It will help you improve your human growth hormone. Okay, all these are there. Science is there. But is it appropriate for everybody, for every age, for every person with different health concerns? No. Today, you're relatively healthy. You don't have any disease. You want to start today. Start slow. Start with fewer hours of intermittent fasting. But if you have diabetes since 10 years now, you're on 2 pills, you want to start same way as the other person, we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Because we have stressors, right? Exercise is a stress. Fasting is a stress. Different diet is a stress. For example, keto is a stress. For that matter, you're taking cold showers is a stress. Anything, all these biohacks are stressors. Stressors should be controlled. As long as a stressor is controlled, then it is good for body. Now you have Murat to do 24 hours fast. 24 hours is over, and then you start with a thali of rice and everything. That is not a right way to do, right? That is not controlled. Start doing without a plan. You should have some guidance. If you're having a disease, you should be especially very careful. If you have hormonal imbalances, you should be very careful. Because that is an additional stress that you're putting on the body. It is not even healing, and you're putting additional stress. It is not going to heal. It will only make things worse. Should be personalized. Again, we should build it over a course of time.
It's very important for them to understand if they have any underlying condition, which is why they shouldn't be fasting, and making it even worse. Because like you said, I think every stress is perceived as stress by our body. What is mitochondria? What kind of the dysfunction of mitochondria?
We are born with a blueprint. So that is about 10 to 15%, except for hereditary rare conditions where it is going to decide your life. Putting those genetic conditions aside, other than that, rest of the times it's 10 to 15%. What we are today is because of the genetics. But later, after that 10 to 15%, what you're doing to your body determines your rest of the life, right? That is your epigenetic.
Yeah.
So that is determined by your lifestyle, the kind of food you put into the body, the kind of things you put onto the body, and what we do with our bodies. You're sitting, standing, exercising, what we're doing. So all this is epigenetic. So as we are living in these modern times, again, I said we are exposed to toxins, chemicals, different kinds of foods, and everything will determine how the cell will function. If you talk about all the chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, alcoholic fatty liver disease, or liver cirrhosis, or anything, any of these diseases have mitochondrial dysfunction. That means their cells have mitochondria which are already not functioning well. They have that in common. What does mitochondria do? We're eating food, glucose forms NAD enters the cell, enters the mitochondria. Mitochondria has got all the infrastructure to produce energy. It perceives energy as an electron. For the electrons to transfer from one compartment to another compartment, a lot of things are used within that infrastructure within mitochondria. We need light there. So that is what sunlight is for. We need CoQ10 there, which we get from the food. And we need oxygen, which we are breathing. All these cumulatively together will make sure we produce energy called ATP.
Yes.
So for this to happen, a lot of things should happen in a right way, right? So we should be exposed to sun, we should be breathing right amount of oxygen, we need CoQ10, and all these things should happen. Now, mitochondria will also not function because of certain drugs or medicines that we take. That is another different aspect of it.
Okay.
It's not just because of the impaired nutrition.
Hmm.
It could be because of certain medicines we take. Also, the mitochondria may be damaged. Or it could be that those peripheral organs are not receiving right oxygen.
So what kind of drugs?
There are certain drugs like NSAIDs, few antihypertensive medications, few antidiabetic medications that reduce mitochondrial function. Also, not just that, when we breathe oxygen here, like we live on the surface, which is like 1 atmospheric pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And here oxygen is 760 mm of Hg. By the time it reaches mitochondria, it is just 10 to 25 mm of Hg. That significant difference is there.
Wow.
But it should pass through a lot of things, right? It should pass through systems, then organs, then tissue, then cells, then mitochondria. Along that course, everything should happen right. Only then it reaches there.
Yeah.
What if a person is not walking enough and henceforth the blood is not circulating well?
Yeah.
What if the person has diabetes and henceforth he has reduced oxygen in the peripheral organs?
Yes.
What if the person has nutrient deficiencies and hence mitochondria is not functioning well?
So end of the day, oxidative stress.
We have oxidative stress, we have high inflammation, lot of things.
Is that why HPOT and all these things are?
So HPOT is hyperbaric oxygen therapy, right? So it is basically trying to increase your blood oxygen levels. By that I mean oxygen in the free flowing plasma. Oxygen is usually carried by red blood cells. We all know that.
Yes.
Red blood cells has a capacity. We all have certain number of RBC. And RBC has only 4 carrying sites. How much ever oxygen you give him, RBC will only carry so much oxygen. But what is hyperbaric oxygen doing? You are put into a pressurized chamber. Whenever the chamber is pressurized because of Boyle's law and Henry's law of physics, the gas diffuses through the fluid. That is the only time when blood is carrying excess oxygen. Otherwise, you can't carry that excess oxygen. Generally, the free-flowing plasma carries very, very, very little oxygen, generally.
Okay.
But when we are in a pressurized chamber, we carry extra oxygen because of Henry's law and Boyle's law. The gas diffuses into the plasma.
Got it.
Now it will reach the places where it was not reaching. We have more excess oxygen for healing. So whatever was not healing before will heal. The body will get enough oxygen, enough healing, enough repair. Anaerobic bacteria will stop growing.
So talking about that other biohacking now, let's talk about infrared sauna and cold therapy. How are all these becoming more impactful today?
There are a lot of inflammatory conditions that get better with cryotherapy and hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Any condition with itis is called inflammation. Is inflammatory condition. So it could be osteoarthritis, it could be rheumatoid arthritis, it could be any itis, and also fibromyalgia. These are debilitating conditions and inflammatory conditions which get better with these kind of therapies. Again, these are not treatments. When I say these therapies could help the person with particular problem, doesn't mean we are treating the problem. It will only help his symptoms get better.
Okay.
These are not labeled by FDA as treatment modalities.
So anyone has fibroids, for example, that cannot be treated.
Fibroid is again a different thing. It is again due to progesterone deficiency and estrogen excess. That is a different condition altogether. Fibroid as such do not have an indication for any of these therapies. That has to be dealt differently. You should get hormonal balance. Putting that aside, inflammatory conditions do well with these therapies. Their symptoms get better. But again, that should be done in a controlled environment. These are again stresses.
Correct.
You are inducing
how much
oxidation.
Is too much is something
how much is too
should
much
know.
should be approved by the physician. So again, it's not like they do not have rules and regulations. Any of these therapies are for certain duration of time, at certain temperatures, certain pressures. So it has got science. It has got certain duration. So we should align with the protocols and do it.
I met a lot of pro athletes and, I see them do everything every day. Is it okay, like every day doing infrared sauna and every day doing cold? I did it 4 degrees cold plunge for 10 days. And after that, I felt like I'm palpitating unnecessarily and getting very anxious. Then I felt, is this to be done without a protocol? Is this to be done with a protocol?
So as you rightly pointed out, how much is too much is important. Cryotherapy does help a body produce more antioxidants, but it happens only when you're giving it certain period of time and you're holding it back. So you should allow the body to repair itself and produce those antioxidants for you. You can't put them for a long period of time. A person who has never taken cryotherapy or cold plunges in their life, what is appropriate for them? They should start maybe twice a week, not more than that. Are they adapted? Can they stay for 1 minute? Start with a minimum. Some people do not tolerate 30 seconds as well. Start with the lower doses, 30 seconds, then 45 seconds, then 1 minute, 2 minutes. You can't go beyond 3 minutes.
What's the maximum? 9
you
minutes?
can't go beyond 3 minutes
Oh.
under minus 160 to 170 degrees. But we do not know what is the pressure of the chamber, how long you're taking it, and what is the percentage of oxygen you're taking. So we would actually not know how much oxygen is actually reaching the cells. So there is a formula to it. There's pressures you need to know, the number of sessions, and what is the condition that you're having. Depending on that, there are various protocols. So I think we should be more aware of where we are walking into and who is our treating hyperbaric practitioner is like.
So the same applies, I'm sure, to the cryotherapy.
More or less, yes, but it's just that the duration for cryotherapy is little shorter, and the physiology also is little different, because it is cryotherapy causes vasoconstriction, right? And later when you're out of that temperature, it causes vasodilation, and that's how your blood flow is improved, your circulation is improved, and you have those endorphins coming in. Your pain is much less. That's why it's morely indicated for inflammatory conditions, and somehow your brown adipose tissue is also activated to a bit. So these are the different kinds of benefits with cryo. Again, you need to be doing it slowly, because you should be adapted. Not everybody can go directly and can tolerate that.
I mean, overall, we see that one of the best biohacks is obviously exercising, which is something that we can always start at any age, go on with it, whether it's sport or whether it's cardio, endurance or strength. So what's your take on the best exercise?
Both are equally important when it comes to cardiovascular exercises and strength training. When I say strength training, people think only about lifting weights in the gym. That is not so. Any kind of resistance on your muscle is strength training. So it could be on the gyms with the excess weights, or it could be in the yoga with your body weight, or it could be with the resistant bands. Some amount of resistance that you're offering to your muscles is good enough, but you are doing more weighted exercises, that is even better. But eventually adding extra weights is also very good, because you should always aim for higher. Yes, you should do both. I think we should concentrate on both the things. And of course, high intensity interval training has got now a lot of evidence-based studies for not just weight loss, but otherwise for your improved heart health and everything. But is it suitable for everyone? Again, is a question that we need to ask, because it is an additional stressor. We need to be doing it slowly. For a person who is not used but relatively healthy, can start off with once a week. But if you're not used to doing it before, again, you should do at least a moderate intensity before you go directly to high intensity exercise.
I hear also and read a lot about the grip strength having a huge impact on longevity of a person. Why is it that it's important to have a good grip strength as you age?
All these parameters of having adequate lean mass, which is muscle mass, having good grip strength, having good VO2 max, which is the measure of cardiovascular capability, and having good neural function, having good cognitive health. All these are the parameters which determine how long you're going to live. There are a lot of studies, right, on people who lived longer. Physically, what is that made them live longer? When the retrospective studies were done, they could see that their muscle mass was better, grip strength was better, because they were doing more hardcore work on day-to-day basis. Not that they were carrying weights all the time in their hands, but they were doing their day-to-day chores. So that way, grip strength has gained a lot of traction, as it is a predominant indicator for people who are living longer and have reduced risk of these diseases, neurodegenerative or cardiovascular. Again, for that, what we need to be doing, it could be dead hands, or it could be holding things for as long as possible, or holding things against resistance.
Pharmacaries.
So, yes. So, yeah, these studies have shown that these people had better grip strength compared to people who had a lot of diseases.
So when we talk about people who are living longer, talking about the blue zones, and that there's so many biohacks, we just spoke about the stressors causing different pathways and blah blah, but these are people who don't even know anything exists in the current scenario. There's somebody living at 120 doing her own stuff, which we see on videos and all that stuff. How are all these people in the blue zone living this way? And anything to do with actually that geographical location, or is it the biology, the physiological process?
There are many people who studied these centenarians, right? So, but whatever studies are there in these blue zones, commonly they trickle down to certain points. These people had gratitude. They were always living in tribes. That means they had better social connections, and they were moving. There was a lot of movement in their day-to-day activities. These were the top things.
Hmm.
Mostly they had a very balanced diet. It's not like they were eating some things a lot, because some people ate dairy, some people did not eat dairy. Some people were eating a lot of legumes, some people were eating animal-based foods. So diet was mostly a balanced one. So that's why it was named a Mediterranean kind of diet.
Yes.
And next on the top was the passion with which they were living, gratitude. All these things were on the top than anything else, because they didn't know any biohacks, they were not planning on living longer. But to some extent, they also had this certain genes which were positive for smaller communities. I'm not saying all the people who lived well have got long living genes called certain, but certain people did have.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of learnings from them we are trying to apply. Same thing was applied in Singapore as well, which was now a Blue Zone 3.0 kind of place where they're trying to incorporate things which made them live longer,
Yes,
better.
I see that, yeah.
So, yeah, these are the common takeaways.
No, that's beautiful. Actually, it reminds me the Ikigai book that I read, how having impactful friendships and relationships and finding value in social circles, obviously where, you're listened to and you connect with people on a certain level. I go to this coffee shop every morning. I have this spiritual satsang happening there every morning. We talk about all the things about life, and it just puts me in such a great state for the rest of the day. Do you also advise your patients on having better relationships?
That is very important. People who are mostly depressed are the people who live alone, who don't have much of social connections. These people are depressed mostly because we read about a lot of hormones, right? Oxytocin, serotonin, and everything. A lot of these hormones come into place when we meet people. We have better oxytocin because it will help us not just accomplish our work, but you're happy.
Yeah.
So that's why they are termed a love hormone or a happy hormone. Ultimately, what is it doing? Meeting people or showing some love have impacted our health and mind in so many ways that it will keep us away from the disease. It will build our immune system. It's not that you're just happy and that's it. It's not connected to anything else. No, it's your immune system is improved with all of these. You have better neurotransmitters. Yeah, a lot of things happen. All your mental health disorders are kept at bay. So that is why we see people who live alone succumb to these diseases mostly.
I'm sure your talking to you has impacted me and the whole team here. All of us are feeling that connection with you and whatever you're saying. I've been thinking, there's so much drugs like Ozempic, which is also apparently creating a shortcut to obesity or diabetes and various other conditions, and how it's helping people burn fat in an easier way. What are your thoughts, and what side effects? Does it have any side effects?
As such, Ozempic is a wonderful drug.
Mm-hmm.
It is a GLP-1 agonist. It has a lot of benefits, like it improves your metabolic health. It will keep your weight managed and will have very good impact on your glucose control and all of these things, right? But it is indicated for certain things, like for diabetes, people who have weight gain and also have diabetes. So that is how it came into picture. But later we started seeing its benefit, that it is not just creating a glucose control, but it's also helping us lose those extra kilos, right? That is when people find anything which is also preventable will tend to have shortcuts in their life. But now we have these long-term studies which are coming in, which show people who have used it for more than 6 months have also started losing muscle along with the fat. People who are off Ozempic and later when they are studied, they have seen a rebound weight gain tendency by more than 10%. So it's not just about being on the drug, what happens after you stop it, and what is happening while you're on the drug. If you're strength training while you're on the drug, that is okay. If you're following all your nutritional balance and everything, then it is okay. But there are people who misuse it, right? Like much weight on your body, you just have to lose that 1 or 2 kgs, people start using it because they already have little fat and little muscle, then they start losing both. And they end up with insulin resistant later because they lose muscle mass. So all these are happening. Yes, a wonderful drug is being misused, but if it's used for right people, it's a fantastic.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, does it also have an impact other than the muscle, anything to do with gut or anything to do with pancreas? And
actually, it has positive benefits on the gut for now. On the pancreas, there are really few people who develop pancreatitis. There are few people who have familial risk for thyroid cancers. There is a risk for thyroid cancer. There is a risk for pancreatitis. Gut, there are mixed reviews. Some people have intolerances. Some people are okay tolerating it. These are the top 2 side effects.
There could be a lot of causes for, I don't call PCOS a disease. I don't call thyroid a disease. I think it's a symptom and people are trying to treat the symptom like a fever. There could be various pathways to a symptom. What is the most important root cause, or let's say the finding that you've seen in your profession?
I think food intolerance is on the top of my mind now. When I talk about something that is missed overall, I think food intolerance is on the top. Second biomarker, which is mostly missed, is the homocysteine. If you're taking B12 rich foods, folate rich foods. But what if you have MTHFR mutation? I see most of the time people have this mutation. When they have it, they're not going to convert that homocysteine, and then they have high homocysteine levels and they end up with all complications of cardiovascular diseases. This is most commonest thing I've seen. The second one. Third biomarker I think people miss, I think, is the HDL. People do get tested for lipid profile. They see parameters like LDL, triglycerides, total cholesterol, which are important. But one determinant which is actually important for good heart health is HDL, where people miss out. It is low most of the times, but don't take it into significance at all. It's important we increase HDL. Of course, keeping triglycerides and LDL low is important, but HDL is an important determinant, so that is often missed. These are the top 3 things I think they are mostly missed during assessments.
In general, is there anything that you thought was some patient going to go into a surgery or something serious, but could his lifestyle in check get back his life under control?
Top one on my mind again is gallstones. Gallbladder stones. There are people with gallbladder stones due to multiple things, either bile acid issues or low progesterone issues, impaired liver detoxification. When we are setting these things right and we are changing their nutrition and they're improving their digestion, digestive enzymes, and we are optimizing the gastric pH, I think a lot of these things fall into place. So gallstones is one such thing where we have seen improve. And the other one are certain, I wouldn't say all the autoimmune diseases, one of which is polychondritis. This particular client again has reduced inflammation. We improved their nutrition, their nutritional status, and improved the metabolites. And he successfully has removed his immunosuppressant drugs and now not even on steroids, but on his nutrition protocol and doing very well with little bit of antioxidant support.
Actually, listening to all this, I feel so gut microbiome, the cellular level damage, state of the damage, level of damage, and testing for all these parameters that we're actually talking about. Why is it not present in the medical system at all?
In the medical system, we need to identify what kind of disease is it. With these symptoms, where do this person fall? What is this bucket of systems called? We try to name. After naming, we have tiers of treatments. If one is not working, we move to T. Again, this is very evidence-based. According to the studies, top evidence that is not working, second level of evidence, then third level. That is what we were doing. That is also right. But what we were missing is when it comes to personalized medicine, there's something else which happens even before a person develops a disease. Suppose 1 to 5 is the disease process. There is something which happens between 0 to 1. Pro-illness. So here what is happening is we also look at metabolites for our clients in terms of their carbohydrates, proteins and fats, vitamins, minerals. How are these used in the body? And while they are used, they leave metabolites both in urine and blood. By looking at them, we can say if that particular process is running well or not. For example, take carbohydrate metabolism. If you see higher levels of lactate and pyruvate in his or her urine, you can clearly say his carbohydrates are not metabolized well. Then for what reason? Is it not having enough substrate? Is CoQ10 is missing? Is micronutrient that is missing? Is his B vitamins that are missing? Similarly, if the gut is not functioning well, if the diversity is not well, and it is not metabolizing things well, it also leaves out certain things in the urine and blood which when are high will indicate that there is imbalance in the gut. These metabolites are also other important markers when we can identify disease very early or even when disease is not hit. But again, there are imbalances and we start correcting these from before itself. So 0 to 1 is the stage for personalized prevention. where you are not having any particular disease, you have some issues. Maybe you're not able to digest food well, you're getting pains when you're eating outside food, or you're eating different kinds of foods. Very vague symptoms. You don't have a disease to present yourself to a doctor, to a hospital.
Wow, that makes so much sense. Like if you can look at it when it's 0 to 1, you can always
then it makes
not
lot
come
of
to 1
sense,
Yeah.
and you don't have to land up in a hospital with something major.
Hmm.
So I think investing your health is very important. And this is what personalized prevention is, right? Prevention is very, very crucial. But again, if it's personalized to your level, to your unique dietary habits, to your unique metabolism, unique genetics, then it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody can afford all these kinds of tests and everything. And all the time, it need not be about testing, right? You need not test when everything is going right. But when you have vague symptoms, if you're investing some time and some amount in testing, you'll get benefits for yourself, and you're preventing something very major later on in your life where you have to spend so much time and energy, resources into it. So I think there I see a lot of value, awareness.
So for all of us, what is the ideal age to get tested for the first time?
Now I see it's 30s. I have even seen people who are in their 27, 28 with high triglycerides and very imbalanced nutritional profiles. So basically, when you're 20s and 30s, we have regular blood tests, but they're all having normal ranges. Let me give an example which comes into my mind. For example, B12. Anywhere from 150 to 1000 is normal.
According to the medical language.
But a person with 150 of B12 will behave very differently with person who has 850.
Yeah.
People are more sharper, more the productivity is high compared to people who have low levels. So that is what we are talking about when we are talking about optimization. First, optimize your values before you hit a disease.
So optimal value is very different from a normal range value in a lab test.
Yes. So when you are able to keep all your health parameters in optimal ranges for long, that means you're creating yourself that health bank where you have so many credit points that your risk for developing a disease is much later.
Yeah, and your organs are functioning very optimally.
Well, yes. It's not just about blood markers, right? Your heart rate variability being on a higher side, your resting heart rate being on a lower side, and your breathing patterns, respiratory rate on little lower side. All these are the hacks.
Yes.
And I think we should make use of technology better. I'm not saying we should all wear wearables all the time, but make sense of data today. So use it for 1 month, use it for 2 months. You'll understand your body. You personalize the results. You make changes. You notice benefits. Take off the wearable. You don't have to keep it with you all the time. Then you understand. Again, when you notice or realize that you have fallen off track and you need that guidance again, you need that real-time monitoring again for yourself, wear them again.
Yes.
Make changes. Adhere to them. Adapt. Then remove. Now, awareness has changed, right?
Yeah.
For everything, we don't have to walk to a doctor. We should proactively take actions like you do. You're a best example for that, right? Today, you're not a doctor, but you have already taken proactive measures for your own lifestyle. Along the way we read things, we learn. But I think times are changing. I think people are having raised awareness now. They're using everything for the best of their health. Most of them.
Yes.
Most of them. But there's a lot of scope. Because there's
But I feel
burden.
a lot of people are also very obsessed because how much is too much? Again, the content which is not very valuable all over the internet, and like I said, that 80-20 rule works well for me, but 5% of this entire population which is more concerned than, like, again, mindful, they're very scared and anxious about every single detail, checking the heart health and then getting anxious, checking the blood glucose monitor and getting anxious. What is it you want to tell, those people?
This is very important. Whenever there is something in the market, people overdo it. Or sometimes it is over-marketed. It is up to us how much we use it till we make changes. People wear wearables and every day they check how is their heart rate variability. It's not going to happen in a day. If you're going to make some changes today, it takes at least 3 months for you to see results, and you don't have to look at your wearables every day. We should not be over-obsessed even with blood tests. We should not be over-obsessed with wearables or over-obsessed with supplements for that matter. I know supplements are important wherever needed to handle certain issues or to maintain health. But again, being over obsessed and taking too much and getting into toxicities is also not ideal. I think we should.
But
be
in
aware of
general,
that.
what are the non-negotiable supplements one should look into post 30s?
Post 30 is non-negotiable. A lot of us have magnesium deficiency, so magnesium is on the top. Then a lot of us have high omega-6 to 3 ratio, so omega-3 is next. D, we're all deficient in D, so we need to optimize D, and we need to optimize B12 also, because of day to day we are seeing a lot of deficiencies, either with absorption issues or other lifestyle factors. I think these 4 are the top with a multi-mineral.
Okay.
Hydration is again very, very crucial, which most of us, because of our work schedules, we miss out on.
A good hydration supplement.
Hydration need not be a supplement as such. It could be a regular filtered water or mineral water that we take. But it's different for people who are into sports and excessively into sports, where they have to train many hours a day. For them, again, mineral supplements will be an added value for them. But otherwise, for people who are regularly going to work, regular workout, sweating very regularly, I think regular water with minimal salt intake is good. Again, there's a lot of claims over salt restriction in hypertension, but people are overly restricting salts, and we see a lot of people with sodium deficiency.
Yes.
Please don't do
that is
that.
happening.
Please don't restrict your minerals too much. There are a lot of sodium and potassium deficiencies as well. So I think we should be, again, not over obsessing over things, and maintaining moderation and having that 80-20 principle is fantastic. You need not worry about small glucose spikes that happen over a week. But if you're having those glucose spikes like every hour in a day, that should be a worrisome thing.
Yeah.
Over a period of time, you're reducing the glucose spikes as much as possible, and keeping that glucose variability within 12% is ideal. But if you have a celebration, if you're celebrating, then the spike is worth. So don't be over obsessed with everything.
So what is Dr. Samatha's formula for longevity?
Formula for longevity.
Personal formula.
Keep it simple, keep it real, have family connections, make time for your family and friends. Work is important. It keeps us away from a lot of banter. Have work-life balance, stay connected. Focus on small things which we often think are small but important for our personal health and growth, and have regular checks with your doctors or family coaches, whoever you have, which is very crucial. Catching diseases early is critical. So regular preventive screenings are ideal. Take it slow.
I can't wait to get my personal screening done to check my bio age. And I mean, to sum it all, it was extremely beautiful having you on the podcast, because it was not only about, disease and prevention and toxins and chemicals. Even small things like mindfulness and, basic breath work and gratitude journaling and simple lifestyle changes of spending quality time, with your family, with your kids. And more than anything, having valuable social connections has a huge impact on longevity. So I'm very, very, very happy to have you. You've inspired me and you've inspired our entire team. And I'm sure all of us will come back to you and get some consults.
Thank you. But I want to look at you only when you're in the preventive course of your health. I wish we, all of us, do practice what we all preach.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. It was lovely having you.
Thank you.